Do you agree that the Fab Five hit the jackpot today with UPP win again? That is unbeatable. But brothers and sisters, we have to understand what happened in the past. If we are to make sensible decisions today in elections as in everything else, ALP politicians have a history of breaking every law and making up their own rules in every election they have contested. It is therefore necessary to put the impending general election into proper perspective. Before we take a close look at ALP electioneering, let me define the critical issues in this campaign as I see them. Brothers and sisters, as I see it, the key issues of this campaign are leadership, trust, management of the country's finances, the prices of food and other consumer items, personal safety, public peace, and the question of justice. Leroy. The first and principal issue in every general election is leadership. It is leadership in every election, in every country in the region, as it is here, and as it is in the United States presidential elections. You don't hear the ALP talking about leadership. A key issue in every election campaign is trust. You don't hear the ALP talking about either leadership or trust. This is understandable in a party whose entire leadership frontline is all on trial for defrauding the people of Antigua and Barbuda while they held public office. The ALP has the record for having the highest number of frontline leaders facing conviction in court trials. Look at the lineup that might well end up in you-know-where. The ALP chairman, the ALP political leader and former prime minister, the ALP deputy political leader, the leader of the ALP opposition, 5 former cabinet ministers, and the ALP's main bagman and power broker are all in the lineup that could end up in you-know-where. I don't think any political party in history has ever faced an election with so many of its leaders facing conviction. The voters of this country should know that if they vote for those people, and if by chance any of them get elected, they may run the risk of disqualification from sitting in Parliament or, for that matter, in government. In the face of these realities, my dear good people, it is important for you to understand that voters should do the right thing and vote to keep Antigua and Barbuda on the right track and moving in the right direction. Talk is that a lot of red shirts bolted after Lester did his fatal interview with Observer Radio last Tuesday. I don't know if any of you listened, but I want to repeat this. Talk is that a lot of red shirts bolted after Lester did his fatal interview with Observer Radio last Tuesday. It was not the former Prime Minister's finest hour. And I want to be very kind to him. Atherton Gaston must have enjoyed seeing Lester committing political suicide as he rambled on for 55 minutes on the radio station. Lester as much as said that in addition to walking around with a lawyer, he's now walking around with a medical doctor. You know what that means? The ALP, therefore, has a serious leadership crisis. They have nobody acceptable to put forward for the office of Prime Minister. The problem they have is that Atherton Gaston are the most powerful people in the ALP after Lester. The problem there is that one of them appears to be crazy and the other one is obviously mad. Remember that under the Constitution, you cannot sit in the Senate or in the House of Representatives if you are crazy or if you are mad. I'm not saying who is crazy or who is mad. I am not calling anybody's names. You know how these two men like to wash their mouths on people and how they like to talk about courthouse. Very seriously, brothers and sisters, ladies and gentlemen, the ALP is already disqualified on the issue of leadership. Another key campaign issue is trust. They probably don't know what trust is, but they know that you do not trust them. That is why they were so extravagant last month. Antigua never saw so much turkey. So much free turkey, free ham, free computers, and wads of free $100 bills. Of course, the first and perhaps the only strategy of the Antigua Labour Party is to attempt to buy the votes of the people. You don't hear them talking about trust as a campaign issue. On the matter of rising prices, the Antiguan and Barbudan people know that this is a global problem. They also know that no government has done more to keep down and indeed to reduce the price of food and other essential consumer items as this government. And few governments have protected more than 70% of income earners from paying personal income tax. The UPP has served the people well. You may hear the ALP talking about plans for this, plans for that, and plans for the other. Try to remember if they have been talking about any plan apart from what one particular investor would do. I invite the nation to judge the United Progressive Party on our performance in our first term. Never has so much been achieved by a government in so short a space of time in this country. And even our detractors will have to accept that. For starters, the United Progressive Party has delivered on more than 80% of our manifesto promises. And we did not have the Sir Vivian Richards Stadium in our 2004 manifesto agenda for change. Compare the UPP's record in our first term against the ALP record on the Lester Bird. As the saying goes, Lester Bird, Asset Michael, Baldwin Joseph, Gaston Brown were taking this country to hell in a handbasket. The ALP was what we call a 3% government. In fact, the Lester Bird Asset Michael regime ran the world's first known 3% government. Check the record. I want you to cast your minds back, and if you can remember, the 1999 manifesto of the Antigua Labour Party.